Welcome back, everybody. Time for some more End of a New Beginning. As the United States, it is 1882, and we are ready to press on with our nearly 100 million in population now. A number of you gave me some great feedback about the questions I had last episode about whether or not we can colonize Africa now that we have taken over Brazil. And there doesn't seem to be any clear picture of that. It seems the general consensus is that the whole colonization system is not yet set up for the United States, or that there may be something that needs to be repaired about that. But either way, we're going to check it out. And some people suggested maybe we just need to take some territory in Africa. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build up this naval base right here, which is only level 1 right now. We're going to build it up to a max. We're going to move our major fleet down there, see if we can establish naval supremacy across the entire expanse right here. And now we are starting the process of declaring war, or justifying a war on Guinea. And that's going to kind of give us our little toehold in Africa as we look for opportunities to expand and maybe colonize. So let's see what happens. So as we're preparing for this, General Meade's going to be our commander to lead the invasion of Africa, and we do have some points that we can invest in him. So I want to take a look at these, and I think primarily we're going to go with infantry leader, infantry expert. We've still got 2 more available trait slots to assign for this general. I'd love to get something. Okay, organizer would be good if we can do that. No, I guess not. It looks like there's only certain ones that are available at the moment. So I guess we'll just kind of sit tight with just that one for now. Unless there are some other things down here. Nope, doesn't appear to be. Earned traits can only be unlocked by gaining experience or by events. Okay. All right, I see the issue here. These are general traits here. Field marshal traits can only be gained for someone who is a field marshal. So I guess if we promoted General Meade to the rank of field marshal, we would be able to do that. But I think for now we're not going to. So, all right. So a lot is happening here. The age of machines, the massive industrial revolution that has taken place in the world and in our country lately has left our army a bit out of date. We must adjust to those changes by restructuring the way our army is organized, and we must adapt to the new realities of warfare by developing new tactics. We will switch from Victorian army to industrial army. So that was something that we actually did in the Army Doctrines screen by achieving this one down here. I don't know what all that really means exactly, but you can see there's no new national focus or research tree for the Army Doctrines that I can do. So let's go ahead and keep working on our new artillery. I'm also looking at Army support, and I'd like to get up here to industrial support equipment, but we're not quite there yet, so we've got to do some other things first. While I'm thinking about it too, if you haven't already heard, I have created a new channel in addition to this one. Some of you, if you've been following for very long, you know from time to time I post videos of my visits to historic sites. I'm still going to continue to do that, and I'm still going to continue to do this. But I've decided that it would be better to make them 2 separate channels, since there might be some people who are interested in that but not this, who are interested in this but not that. And to make that more accessible to everyone and to get a little more exposure for those other types of videos, I've created a separate channel. It's called Vlogging Through History, and there's a link in the description of this video. If I'd love it very much if you'd be willing to go over and check that out. Subscribe to that channel. Over the next couple of months, I'm going to be uploading the 50 or so videos that I have on this channel over to that one, but also adding some new content as well. So watch for that. Let's get back to this though. So right now, looking at the naval situation, I have naval supremacy here, but it's telling me that I'm out of range, which is kind of an unusual thing, because I would think my Navy ought to be able to operate there by 1882, because the U.S. Navy was definitely operating off the coast of Africa decades before this. So I'm not entirely sure why I'm out of range there, or what I can do about that short of doing research to establish a further range. It's telling me right now, you can see here that the nearest naval bases are listed. I've certainly got to have naval bases closer than some of those other folks, but we might have to try and get access to something like Cape Verde's naval base in order to be able to complete this crossing. Conflict between monopolies. 2 major monopolies have begun to engage in a conflict with each other. Business disputes And accusations have been thrown about. This could be a good opportunity for us to gain favor with one of them. We're going to let Carnegie and Rockefeller do their thing without me getting involved, I think. All right, so you can see that we have solved the problem of range. I was able to secure docking rights from the Kingdom of Portugal. So that's going to allow us now, when this war kicks off in just a minute, that we're going to be able to get our Navy successfully across. In fact, you can see it pretty well opened us up to everything in that part of the world, because Portugal has got these various naval bases. All right, so we are, I think, just a few days away from being able to launch the attack. Now, there it is. Now, here's the thing. I was looking at this, and I noticed that Peru and Ecuador are guaranteeing their independence, which means that when I launch this attack, I'm very likely to be facing war here in South America with Peru and Ecuador. So I've started moving armies into position on those borders to protect against something like that happening. So let's go ahead and declare war. And then you can see here potential enemies. So we'll see if that leads to war with these other countries. Let's go ahead and... Now we're going to have to redo this, I think. Yep, here we go. So Ecuador and Peru have gone to war with me over the invasion of Africa. So we're going to go ahead and prepare for that now. Bicycle battalions. I don't think we'll be having any of those. So who we have over here is Grant. And Sheridan's still getting into position, but Sheridan's going to be responsible. Oh, that was just Peru. Ecuador didn't actually declare war on me yet. All right, so we don't currently have the ability to invade with naval transport ships because we need to research that. And one of the things I always forget is that some of these research trees are really big, and you can't zoom out on these like you can with the national focus trees. So I hadn't gone all the way to the bottom here and looked at some of these things that we have here. So unfortunately, we've got to deal with all this. So it's going to take 53 days to research capital ship naval transportation. Once we do that, we ought to be able then to launch our invasion across the Atlantic Ocean. In the meantime, we are dealing with the Republic of Peru and Ecuador as well. Okay, so we're about to complete, there it is, naval transportation on capital ships. Let's go ahead and continue this transport ship research. It's going to improve our ability to do that moving forward, but that should be enough to get this done. Let's go ahead and take a look now and see if we'll be successful in preparing a naval invasion. What's it say this time? There we go, 3 divisions. We can get 3 divisions across at a time. That should be enough, though, and all we need to do is be able to land those first 3 divisions, and then we'll be able to transport the rest. The problem here is there's no naval base in Guinea. So that means that supplies are going to be really just non-existent. So as soon as we take this nation, we're going to have to start building a naval base there so we can start bringing supplies in to help support whatever action we take on the African continent moving forward. So it's April 22nd. We are ready to launch our naval invasion. So let's go ahead and get that going. Also, very nearly done with Peru. And Ecuador never entered the war, so those troops that I had on their border are unnecessary at this point. So I'm going to send Sheridan's forces over here to deal with the northern territories of Peru that I haven't finished off. And we'll allow Grant's army then to go ahead and finish off the southern half. And by the time I take care of Guinea, I think I'll probably have dealt with Peru as well. So we're watching Meade's forces make their way over. And as soon as we get those first couple of divisions in place, they'll start going back for the others. But I'm hoping just those 3 are going to be enough. And it looks like maybe they... Oh, he's got 24 divisions? I'll admit I was not expecting that at all. I certainly was not expecting 24 divisions that I would have to deal with only my 3. But I'm hoping we'll still be able to do this. Wow. Okay, and as those divisions started losing, they fell back, and Eventually it got much easier, so I did manage to take care of that territory. So now Meade's going to get the rest of his forces in here, which is going to be difficult because they're not going to have the supply base that they need. But hopefully we very quickly take these couple of territories and that becomes a non-issue. We've just got to hold ground until we can get some more troops over here. So we do have the ability to land troops in Sierra Leone, which is owned by the British because they've given us permission for that. So it looks like maybe we can get our supplies through there. In the meantime, Peru has been taken out, and honestly, I'm not so sure that I want to take Peru. Let me see what kind of resources they have. Not a lot, really. A little bit of coal and tungsten. I think I'm kind of content with just puppeting them. So let's do that. Okay, Peru was puppeted. They're going to stay on our side. But now instead of having to occupy them, we've got a puppet in place. Meanwhile, we're getting some more divisions landed to help support Meade's attack, which is going to be a difficult one just because of the supply issues. Maybe we'll make them a little more aggressive here and see if that helps. Okay, right now we're not having a lot of success in this attack, but we're only attacking with one division against 20. Alright, now we're getting more. Now we've got 8 divisions attacking. We've got our whole army under Meade now in position. I'm hoping just taking Bombali is going to be enough to win this war. Nope, looks like we're going to have to go just a little bit further. We've lost 517 men. We've inflicted 49,000 casualties. Oh, that shows you the difference in technology there. My goodness. They had a much bigger army than I was expecting, but they're very, very weak. Okay, that should do it. This is going to give us our base of operations in Africa. Okay, there we go. So they had tribal weapons, so you can understand why that was just an impossible task for them. So now what we've got to immediately do is start constructing a naval base and build up the infrastructure here, because this is going to become our base of operations for what we do throughout all of Africa. I think naval bases are down here. Really? Okay, I can build one in Guinea. We're going to max this thing out. We're going to get every bit of supplies pouring in there as we possibly can. All right, there we go. So looking back at naval research now, we're going to research steam-driven water pumps. We're doing a lot of naval research in these things that I hadn't seen before. Telescopic sights. These are all things that are going to push us toward the modern Navy we're going to need by the time the Spanish-American War breaks out at the end of the 1890s. So let's go ahead now that we're in 1883, and let's start looking at our infantry units. Most of our infantry is infantry regiment with support. So that's primarily what I've been building with, and I like having the combat width of 20, so I'm pretty content with the makeup of what I have here with cannon, artillery, light infantry, and line infantry. But over here on support, I want to add some things. And specifically what I want to add are a Gatling gun company, which you can see how much that adds to defense and soft attack. So that's huge. I also want to go ahead and add, let's see, recon. That gives them some defense, some soft attack. I don't know that that's necessary. Telegraph signal company gives them 5% bonus to initiative. Engineer company gives some nice bonuses to entrenchment, defense, and breakthrough. Also fort attacks, river movement, amphibious, so that's probably helpful. Let's add those 2 things for now. That's going to increase my production costs, but it's also going to give me some flexibility. But now I've got new equipment that I've got to start producing. So what do we need to produce here? Machine guns and support equipment. So where are the machine guns? There it is right there. Alright, so let's start producing those. It looks like we're good on horse and tack because we're not using a lot of cavalry right now. And then we're going to need support equipment, which I'm not entirely... Oh, Victorian support equipment. There we go. So we're going to need to start producing those. And I think I'm going to start needing some more military factories to catch up with some of this stuff. Okay, so now that we're in Africa, we are able to choose colonial ambitions. Well, I thought. It looks like maybe I was wrong about that. I tried to switch over one of my current research projects to that. So I guess it probably is just not currently available. Remember, this is a game that's still in development. The mod is far from finished. They're adding new things all the time. The next time I do a playthrough on this mod, there will be a whole lot of new things that isn't available right now because they've got several people working on it. So that's the nature of it, and that's okay. You're still getting a really good glimpse of what this has to offer. See now the power projection and how dramatically increased it is for me. It's kind of interesting that my power projection would be so much higher than the German Empire. In fact, 4 times as big. And then some. When our factories are actually almost equal, he's actually got slightly more. He's got twice as many divisions as I do. I guess probably a big part of it is the Navy. I've got 291 ships and he's got 15. I suppose that's where we're making the difference. All right, we're focusing heavily right now on naval research. 1880 monitor hull, impulse steam turbine, which is a little bit ahead of the year of technology, which is why it's going to take longer. Hardwood capital ship hulls is actually a way back technology, but I feel like it may be necessary to unlock some of the newer stuff. And then efficient steam propellers, which is an 1868 technology. So we're trying to get caught up on those things, which should allow me to start building better ones. Right now, the best ship I can build is an 1868 ironclad Corvette hull A1. You can see some of these other ships that would be available to me if I had all of the pieces for those unlocked, like the prototype submarine hull, early protected cruiser hull. And I don't think there's a way to actually see the specifics of what I need to unlock those things. But that's really what this is all about right now, is focusing on upgrading the Navy. And I'm just going to go all the way from top to bottom and show you what all of these trees are and what we're working on. So here under mainline ships, that's where I'm trying to do this one just so I can get it out of the way. Right now we've got 1880 unprotected cruiser hull. That enables a 2500 ship light cruiser engine. Or I guess that's horsepower. 1880 protected cruiser hull. 1888 armored cruiser hull. Right here we've got the early submarine hull, which is way ahead on technology. High explosive rounds, which is something we could do now. Twin-barreled turret 1, that might be where we go now. And with all of the Navy experience I have, I can spend that experience to cut the amount of time it takes to do these research items. So I'm dramatically improving how quickly I can do those things. We need to think about where we want to expand in Africa. I'm watching this number over here. You can see aggressive expansion is 86. It was all the way up at 99 a while ago. But since I haven't done a lot lately, it's starting to slowly come back down, which means I'm less of a threat to other nations. Okay, let's start building a modern Navy. It's 1884. We do have, I've designed my first early armored cruiser. And I can show you what that exactly looks like here in just a minute. This is what I designed. So it doesn't have a lot of things, but we have a module slot for a fire control system, which in this case is a crow's nest. That's all we've got right now, but that's okay. It is 1884. We've installed reinforced hardwood ship armor. Obviously, that's not ideal, but that's what we have right now. Same here. We've got a 150 millimeter early turret of medium caliber, another 150 millimeter there, another one there, a 280 millimeter early turret there, and 4,000 horsepower battle cruiser engine. And that's going to cost us a lot. And you can see here the attack. It's got a heavy attack of 9.2, but no light attack ability. I'm not entirely sure I feel great about that. So I might actually change this around a little bit, because it's got a lot of medium guns, but no light guns. I don't really have a spot for light guns, I guess. So I guess we'll start adding those to the existing fleets, replacing these 1868 ironclad corvettes. The other thing we'll need to do along with that to start growing is to start improving the number of naval dockyards that we have. So we can start ramping up this new modern navy that we want to build. Okay, slavery has been outlawed all over Europe, and the United States of America has fought a war over the practice. We must now decide whether or not to intervene in the governments of Africa in order to eradicate this abhorrent practice from the Dark Continent. Yes, absolutely. Not enough coal or iron for steel manufacturing. Earlier today, one of our steel mills ran out of various raw materials required to produce steel, and as such have closed down. We lost a steel mill in Ohio. Captains of industry support us. All right, so we've got to start ramping up the coal and iron production that we need to produce more, because now that we're making these big ships, we're going to start using a lot of steel. So we're going to obviously have to support that through production of new materials. So let's take a look here. Oil refinery, naval dockyard. There's coal mines here. We can start producing more coal. West Virginia is the perfect place for that, as is Pennsylvania. So we're going to start ramping up some of those. I'm going to actually, for the time being, cancel a few of the new naval dockyards in favor of dealing with that. And then in addition to that, what else do we need to construct? We probably need some more iron. And machine parts, steel mill. So steel mill needs iron and coal. So where's our iron production? I don't see that. Logging camp, textile mill, coal mine. So I think iron's just a raw material that you either have or you don't. So let's take a look and see in terms of trade where we are. So steel is what we're low on. So we need more coal, we need more steel manufacturing, but we don't need more iron, because I think that is just going to be a raw product that you either have or you don't. Raw iron right there. We're actually negative 96 on that. It's because we're exporting so much. So unfortunately, what we need to do now is we need to change our export laws so that we can deal with that. So let's go into internal politics. You can see traditional conservatives make up the vast majority of things. And I'm not even going to mess around with this. I didn't mean to call an election. I'm just going to find the trade laws, and I'm going to make this happen completely on my own, just for the sake of making sure that we have everything we need. So we're going to go to limited exports by executive order. The Paris Conference has outlawed slavery. We'll take any action against any nation who refuses to comply. So there we have that. And we'll see what these trade laws mean for my iron production. You can see now we're not exporting nearly as much. Raw iron, we now have a surplus. So that was absolutely necessary. We've actually got a major surplus of most things. That's going to hurt the number of factories I have available to me, but that's a trade-off that I'm willing to make right now. So I've gone ahead and taken someone's suggestion that I should just go ahead and override the Colonial Ambitions technology, because I'm noticing that a lot of things are firing in the world that require that Colonial Ambition research, and for whatever reason I haven't been able to research it. So I went ahead and just made it happen so we can continue down this tree. I'm not going to do anything else to try and cheat. I just wanted to make that available, because what you'll see here is that we have this decision available right now about voting for the United States of America to control Mauritania, and it wasn't available because I didn't have the national spirit colonial power. So in the Berlin conference, there's a vote going on about these things, and there's going to probably be other votes coming behind that. So we're going to vote yes, that we want to do that. We're going to found Mauritania on charter. So I don't know which territories that is, but obviously we're starting to get involved in some of these things now. So we're going to go ahead and vote on that as well. And it looks like we can now reopen that steel mill that got closed. So now all this new stuff popped up. Found the Senegal charter, found the Guinea charter. And what do these do? It causes me to declare war on the various nations that control these territories. And I guess this creates these modern nations: Congo, Gabon, Cameroon, Nigeria, Benin, Ivory Coast. So that's kind of interesting. And obviously I don't want to overuse this by any stretch of the imagination. We got to be really careful. Vote for the United States of America to control African Horn. Man, that's some major control that we're talking about possibly getting here in all of this. So I want to be careful with this, and I probably won't go too far with it without hearing from all of you, because some of you may know more about this than I do, and you may be able to help me know what I'm getting into with all this stuff. The Paris Conference ends. Colonialism has reached Africa, long ignored by the great European powers. A renewed interest in the continent was sparked by the King of Belgium, Leopold II. Many countries rushed to seize the land, but predictably, territorial conflicts emerged. Sensing danger, Portugal and England, who requested the conference be in France, chose to organize a conference in Paris to discuss the situation and forge economic ties through the Dark Continent. All countries with holdings in Africa or interest in the region were invited, and the rules were set to regulate colonization of the continent. Hopefully this will ensure peace in Europe while the African people are conquered. Yeah, isn't that interesting how Europe's like, yeah, we're going to decide what happens to Africa. But we can only hope, as conflicts have already risen between Germany and Britain over direct control of the colonies, and France vies for more territory at the expense of the English. What will come of this? So we'll chill on any more charters right now while we wait to see what happens. Now they're voting on Burkina Faso. Opposition returns. Oh, that's fine. Not a big deal. Okay, so a lot going on here. Pretty interesting stuff. A lot of decisions. Let's see if there's any other decisions available besides all the scramble for Africa. I don't think there is at the moment. So we're going to continue to work on... We're building 4 armored cruisers, and we're going to start slowly phasing out the old ships that I have at the moment. Let me look at the ledger. You can see we're up over 7,000 in power projection now. 301 ships. That's obviously not really sustainable. So we'll start phasing out some of the old ones. So I think I am going to go ahead and do the Found Guinea charter, because that's going to cause me to declare war on Fouta Djallon, which is this big territory right here. So let's go ahead and do that one. I don't know if that instantly causes the war. Let's take a look and see. I don't know if we have to wait on the current things that are happening or what. So here we have the charters that are being founded, and you can see how long we have until they take place. And we're going to be at war with several different nations when that happens. I'm going to wrap it up right there. It's the middle of 1884. We've successfully taken our first steps toward colonizing Africa. Europe's going to be fighting over it, so there's going to be a lot of new things happening. I would love to hear your thoughts about all of that. Drop a like if you would. Leave some comments below. Check out my new channel, which there's a link in the description to that as well. New content going to be going up every day. Some of you have already seen some of that, but if you haven't seen my on-location videos, please check those out. Thanks for watching.